Hello, everyone. This is Daniel Louis Crumpton, as the aforementioned Chuck Ocelli said. Have you ever tried to do radio? Have you ever tried to do radio for the first time and have everything go wrong, like Murphy's Law, and then have to try to put it together in a moment's notice? Well, that is exactly what tonight is, and I am a complete and nervous wreck, as you can tell by the tone of my voice. We were going to have Derrick Grayson on, who anyone who follows my work knows that I'm a very strong supporter of, and that's saying a lot. I'm not a supporter of many politicians anymore. I find them to be politicians that like to read scripts. But if you have followed the past few election cycles, you know him as T-Mont. Down here in Georgia, we call him Derrick Grayson. He is running for Senate. He is, in my opinion, no matter what your philosophical or political beliefs are, one of the best hopes that we have to make any change. You don't have to live in my congressional district to enact any type of change. But I would strongly suggest that you look into him. Derrick Grayson, for Senate 16, I believe is his website. He was going to come on, but as things happen, there's schedule mix-ups and, message mix-ups and things like that. And it was reported to me earlier today that he had something more important to do, which is spend time with his daughter. And for that, I do not hold any begrudgment whatsoever, because if the man has to choose between coming on ZEN in the Car radio with me or spending time with his daughter, then I tip my hat to the man and thank the man for that, and that's the kind of man that you would be voting for. But look Derrick Grayson up, and if we can get our guests on magically off the air here, you'll hear some other young guys who are activists in Georgia or will be in Georgia soon that will tell you what their thoughts, because I've showered the man with enough praise as it is. So give me just a moment, and I got my first caller up. Can you hear me? Turner, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Turner, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Hey, everybody, this is Jason Turner. He's also an honorary member of the ZEN in the Car team. He's also a veteran here in Georgia. And I wanted to bring him on as are you officially a campaign member of the Grayson 2016 team campaign?
Yeah, I have been for about 3 years now. I've been working with Derrick and Barbie and all them. I headed up his campaign for a little while last year just to get everything back in the swing of things for this year. And now Derrick has really reached out to a lot of good people within the state and brought in some really good help, some much needed help. And, that's the only thing that we're lacking right now is a good volunteer coordinator. Beyond that, I mean, he's the only one that's really challenging Johnny Isaacson, in the 2016 election. I heard, his website is Grayson2016.com. If anybody wants to go there and check him out, I highly recommend it. I mean, I'm a constitutionalist. I don't, give my vote to just anybody. And this man, I've actually volunteered. None of us on his staff are paid. Mm-hmm. We do it because we want to do it, not because we're getting paid to do it. So right. Anybody that you talk to, if you talk to Phil, Derrick started a new campaign. It's called Reach Out and Touch Me, where you can actually go in and, send Barbie or, you can send myself an email, jason.turner2@gmail.com. Mm-hmm. And we'll actually set you up a time so you and Derrick can sit down and discuss things, find out where he's at, where he, what kind of stances he has on certain things. And, getting a politician to actually, well, I wouldn't even call him a politician, getting somebody who's wanting to represent you on the phone, talking to you, that's unheard of. And that's exactly what Derrick's doing right now. And Phil, he is the senior advisor for the campaign. He took over for Neil when Neil passed away. God rest his soul, man. Neil, he worked with the Reagan campaign. He was the senior advisor last year. He passed away, and that was rough on all of us because Neil, he meant a lot to this campaign, and he worked to spearhead the fair tax, the very first one, way back when. So he was part of the original people who wrote the fair tax.
Right. You still there? Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Sorry. This got kind of quiet. But
Sorry.
yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to get in touch with me again, I'll give you my phone number. It's 404-645-0395, or you can reach me on an email at jason.turner2@gmail.com. That's basically the one I use. My phone number is campaign phone number. Anybody can get in touch with me if they want.
Yeah, and you know what type of people listen to me or read my stuff.
Absolutely.
So, we're talking to those type of people. Typically, a lot of them, we went through the Republican process, in 2008 and in 2012. We were shut down by the Republicans. They did the worst, most underhanded stuff whilst begging for a new generation to come in and be a part of the machine. And that's not what we on the inside saw at all, is it?
No. And that was the thing when I went to Gainesville for the convention here, and it was like when we got there, they had already had their delegates selected before we even got there. Mm-hmm. And that was back in the 2012 election, of course. For all of us, they shut us down real quick. The Ron Paul type, they shut us down, and the shenanigans continue. And as much as I refuse to endorse or even talk about somebody in a negative light who's running for the presidency, but you can see what the machine's doing right now. And both sides of the ball, the Democrats and the Republicans, are both they're eating their own. And that's just the easiest way to put it. They're going to continue eating their own until we can finally, retire some of these old people. and I mean by that is the establishment. These establishment types, they claim to want the younger generations in, and as soon as you come in and you try to have a voice, they shut you up real quick. Right. You haven't done your time. You haven't put your time in. Well, you know what, buddy? Screw you.
Yeah.
We'll do things on our own.
If I knew how many times I heard that in delegate meetings,
right?
Why don't you younger people just sit back and give us your dues, just learn from us a little bit, and meanwhile we're like, you guys don't even know how to use the internet. You're still getting your information from Schlimbaugh. We're more informed here. Won't you let us help you? Get your dial up a little bit.
Well, I tell you what really threw them off was that a lot of the people who were who claim to be Republicans and libertarian Republicans, whatever you choose to be, they knew the rules better than these people. So what happens is these people, they just all of a sudden come in and just start changing the rules the day before the Tampa convention. They changed the rules for the delegate counts, and it's like, wow, for me, it's amazing to see how far these people will go to shut us up. And, we're not the go along to get along kind of people, and they don't want that. Yeah. You better follow in line, and you better back the candidate that they choose for you.
Yeah. It's a tight knit group in there, and I believe
that we're not part of.
Right. I believe a lot of them are good hearted people, deep down, but they're just really, 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 really ill informed about the issues. Right. And they're stubborn as hell about it. And they weren't going to hear any of what we were saying. And I know, I don't know about your particular district, but in my particular district, I was beside some of the hardest working activists, and none of us were on any type of a payroll whatsoever. We went out in our spare time and for our candidate, Ron Paul. And yeah, I'm a Ron Paul guy. I'm not ashamed to say it. I believe in the Constitution and limited government and freedom and all that. And when the man spoke, he lit something in a generation that is going to burn on for a long, long time. And it got people out who didn't give a damn about politics in my town.
The brush fires were lit.
Young people, who quickly had to learn this process of the Republican machine. And we were out there, especially in my county, there's a young lady, Valerie Sargent Martin, and if she's listening, I call her the godmother of what happened here. But
Valerie, she's made a lot of progress down there. I remember when we come down and visited, Derrick was welcomed with open arms from everybody. I think that was the first time I'd ever met you. you and Patrick and what's his name, Curtis?
Actually, no, the first time that we met, because I vividly remember me and you hitting it off right away, because you remind me of my dad, but on speed a little bit. You were a Navy man, and he was a Navy man, and I remember we met at a gas station on the way to the Savannah debate, and me and you we was like, hey, dude, you want to talk about weird stuff like reincarnation and politics and mix it all together?
Right.
And it was like, yeah. And then the other guys in the truck, they sighed. They like, reincarnation and politics.
That's when we really had the Zen in the car.
Yeah.
With a truck. Yeah, I was driving my truck. But, yeah, what a trip that was. 3 hours in the truck with you guys. Whew.
It was something. And, dude, I still have footage. Okay, of that trip, but I didn't have permission from other team members to ever air it. But I still am sitting on it, and if I ever could get the permission of the other team members to air that shit, it would.
That was quite the conversations on the way back when we were talking. You know, it was great. Yeah.
Yeah. If I could actually air that, because that really would describe. Because I have so much trouble describing what Zen in the car is to people. And it's basically,
that was Zen in the car.
That was Zen in the car. It was us, going on long road trips, different people having deep philosophical discussions. We all come from different backgrounds. And it was just like, wow, none of us are really fighting. We're disagreeing loudly at times, but we're all going to this debate, and none of us were ever dues paying Republicans before. But that was the essence of it. And that's what really describes, what we are. And that whole time at the debate, of course, I never was officially a part of the Grayson campaign, and don't think I would be, because I'm not gonna, it's guilt by association, and I say whatever the hell I want. I don't really give a damn what people think, and I'm not gonna let mainstream media connect what Derrick has said with my opinions, edit it, and stuff like that. But I was, let's say, in bed as an independent reporter, and I can tell you, if you get on YouTube, we put out a video. I think it's Zen Drive Time, and it was basically edits of Derrick Grayson, unscripted, at several functions in front of the Republican Party, speaking hardcore truth. And I know for a fact, on my dad's grave, okay, I'll put this truth down. When the cameras are off and he's off the debate stage and he's not shaking hands, he's the same man that you see or right there on the cameras at the debates. He's the same man.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you, we had a conversation on the conference call the other night, and, it's gloves off, man. I mean, because I know a lot of people, but Trump is playing off of people's anger, and that's to me, it's good to be angry, but there's a certain type of angry. The last election, they coined Derrick as the Uncle Tom or the angry black man. And hell, we just embraced it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And now it's just, you'd be surprised at the people who are calling my phone going, dude, I love this guy, and it's like, I'll tell you what, I've known Derrick now for 4 years, and he hasn't changed it. He refuses to change for anybody. Getting that man to try to, muzzling him, and that was the conversation we had. Like, if we tried to muzzle him, he was right back. Said, look, I'm going to say what I want to say. And I'm like, okay, you do what you do, man. And that's, and I think that's what makes Derrick unique about it is he's not going to pull the punches. If you're wrong, you're wrong.
Right.
And that's, to him, if you're wrong, he's just going to call you out. Maybe you should be doing the right thing. Shine that light back in the corner.
I found it very, very funny that at the debates, if you were in the debate hall, he tore the house off.
Oh yeah,
off. I mean, he won hands down. If you were there, when the man got up to speak, his supporter team.
There was a. I forget what it was. It was like a poll that they did after the first and second debate. Well, who do you think won the debate? Derrick Grayson won both debates, and the people said Derrick Grayson won. You'll hear him tell you about the story about him. You know, he was like, you know, they never asked that question again. By God, they never asked that question again, ever.
Yeah. And remember, you guys were up in the press booth up top, and me and Patrick, we had went down to actually watch, and you were trying to live stream it. Tell the audience what happened whenever we were trying to live stream out.
Yeah, as soon as we set up all the equipment, we had Derrick's equipment set up with a computer, and we had everybody's cell phones going, and everybody was connected to the internet. All of a sudden, the internet no longer existed. It was gone. Like, there was no Wi-Fi, no nothing. And it was like blackout, complete blackout. So thankfully, we were able to get our phones back up on the 4G plan here and get Bamboozer going and at least get something recorded. You know, it was like, I mean, that's the length that these people have went to keep everybody in the dark. And
I've always said I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I don't believe in coincidences either, brother.
Well, when I'm there and I see when I physically see the thing happening on its own, you have to go, okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute, you know, because it was running fine. Everybody there was connected. I mean, we had every news agency that was left and right, and some people from D.C. were there. And then all of a sudden, even the chick that was from the Washington Post was there. I was sitting right next to her, and she's like, "Do you have internet?" And I said, "No, I have nothing." And she's like, you know, and being in the IT, we had no Wi-Fi. There was no signal whatsoever. It wasn't like they changed the password. They shut it down.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
Yeah, that's right. And I was sitting right there. I remember you ran down because you were like a chicken with your head cut off, man.
Yeah.
I had to catch up to your speed. You know, I was the odd duck of the crowd. You know, I'm in a room with a bunch of Republicans, and you know me. You know how I dress. I'm a very eclectic guy. And I can freak people out. And some of the comments, how conservative you think this guy is, you know.
Right.
I walk in like
yeah, he's got that black trench coat on. What is he supposed to be doing?
Why's he got that
he's got to be a liberal.
Why's he got that funny third eye thing on his hat? What's he doing here? Is he a plant? I remember we were outside, and I had went up there I did something for Derrick. It was before he went on stage, and Patrick was out there schmoozing, doing his Republican thing, you know, undercover with his jacket on. That's, you know, Patrick's a jeans and t-shirt type of guy. But
he straight up told Paul Brown up out there.
Yeah. So when I come walking down the hall, I see Patrick talking to this older Republican, schmoozing it up. And then I knew it's going to be an awkward situation because I look like, you know, something out of a Marilyn Manson video. And, you know, he introduced me real quick, and I shook the guy's hand, and we chatted, and then he scuttled off. And Patrick said, "You're never going to believe what that guy said." I said, "What's that?" I said, "I bet you I can take a guess." "Well, how conservative do you think that guy is?" And Patrick,
right. Well, I've got some video that I uploaded it to my YouTube channel, and of that whole conversation where, you know, when Jason called Paul Brown out on the NDAA and his vote for the NDAA, he's like, "Well, it's not in there." Yeah. Of course it's in there because they never repealed it. So it's there. And I'm like,
the best part was he was out there with the guy, and I'm sorry, but, you know, and I'm not connected to any campaign, so I can say what the hell I want, but I'm a recovering alcoholic. You know one when you see one. But Patrick don't give a damn about nothing. He's talking to the guy. We're streaming, and he's like, "No, you voted for the Indian. Look, it says it right here. Look at the phone." He's like, "Well, I have to use," and Patrick interrupts the guy. He don't care if it's a politician. He doesn't care. He goes, "We want you to use your noodle, man." He taps him on the hip.
I want you to use that. He's like, "I want you to use your noodle. I don't care what everybody else thinks. I want you to use your." Yeah, it was great. I was like, yeah, that's the one I have on video. That's the one I have on my YouTube channel. That I think I uploaded it for. I think it was Patrick. May have sent it to me or something, or you may have sent it to me, and I couldn't get it into your account. I was in the car, so I just put it on mine.
Yeah. It's out there somewhere. We're going to have to put something together about that again.
And Paul Brown is now challenging Doug Collins in the 9th District of Georgia, and he doesn't even live in the 9th District. He doesn't even live in the district up there. And it's like,
Jesus.
what?
Yeah.
Like, really? Like, you can choose somebody else to, like, in your district, maybe? So it's like, what is his purpose for that? You know, and I'm thinking to myself, why would you go outside of your own district to run against an incumbent Republican who is being loved by the masses up in the Bible Belt? You know, it's like, why would you do that? Why would you challenge?
You know, all right. I was a former listener of Alex Jones. You know, when I was first waking up to everything, and you know, you hear about the people in the back rooms and smoking cigars.
All is forgiven. All is forgiven.
Yeah. But at the time when we were this was shortly before Derrick was running. But I'm not lying. This actually happened. Anybody who's there, you guys in my district, you know. We would always meet at this restaurant, us Liberty folks. I think it was every Thursday, and it was almost like the Green, you know, Tavern, the Green Dragon Tavern, right? We were plotting for liberty again, right?
Right, right.
And how we were going to take the floor and all this good stuff. And no shit, Turner. We're sitting there, you know, they always put us like right near the entrance at a group table. They always expected us. And it was the night that we were all supposed to be discussing our strategy of how we were going to sweep the convention that was coming up. And I kid you not, okay? Every city council member and the mayor and anybody who would oppose us just so happened to walk in as a group at that same moment and go into to the back of the damn restaurant. And we were all looking around like, well, when has this happened before?
Dum dum dum. You feel the air in the room just be sucked right out the door. You're like,
yeah. I mean, the definition of paranoid,
right?
The definition of paranoid isn't that somebody is believing something that's not happening. It's that they see too many connections that other people can't see. That's the actual definition of paranoia. So call me paranoid, but you know,
it's a conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy, Ted. But and what was cool about it was, you know, that was the first time that I'd been in any way behind the scenes of a campaign or a nominee, and it also happened to be Derrick's birthday when he was in Savannah.
Yeah.
And that was so cool, you know, because like I said, the man he's got the heart of a lion, and we were in like the next room, and we were all celebrating, you know, because he won the debate and it rocked, and we did our thing. We're liberty activists, and we're all talking, smoozing, and meeting. And then, you know, he's got the room next door, and some of us, it was the first time we physically met Derrick, right? So there's always a little bit of hero worship when you're around somebody like that. And then there came a whisper in the hotel room, Derrick's coming over. Derrick's coming over. You know, and I was like, well, shit, yeah. And he'd come and he spent his birthday with us, and we sat, and you know what we did? We chilled out, and we talked about things like the war, the veterans, what's being done overseas, which is now being forgotten, right?
Right.
But Derrick's a veteran himself. I have some footage. I never got around to editing it because I live a crazy, crazy life. You know that. I'm going to have to bring it up for this campaign and put it out there soon. But I have a raw video, an interview that Patrick did with him. And it was his birthday after the debate. We were sitting there. He knew I was filming, but obviously there's no camera face. And he starts talking about the vets. And I haven't seen that raw footage. But
I remember that. We were all chilling. I was sitting in the floor beside the door there, the window, the sliding glass door. We had a really good conversation about that because it got deep. It got deep. Like real deep.
It got real deep because, you know, I'm not a veteran. I've never been in the military. Okay.
Right.
I've had people use that as a point of contention. You know, well, why are you here? What are you talking about the troops for? And I'm like, well, I have connections to the guys who do serve. My father, is my personal hero, served in 2 foreign wars. You know, for whatever the actual reasons of those wars, Korea and Vietnam, his intentions were pure. it was that he was sold a lie, that he was fighting for the country.
And I tell you, man, I see a lot of activists that they kind of hound on service members, and service members do have a choice. There's no doubt in my mind. We as service members have a choice, but it's like they forget about the other side of the ball here. Is if we become conscientious objectors, dude, you take flack like you would not believe, and they make your life hell.
Mm-hmm.
They make your life a living hell because, see, and that's a lot of folks who've never been in the military don't understand is we're subjected to the UCMJ, which is the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and they love to throw that thing at you any chance they get. Excuse me. Anytime you do something, you screw up, I'm going to tell you right now, your leadership will nail you to the wall for their betterment. and especially when you're deployed. Now, you do have some good, commanders, unit commanders, whatever. But there are those guys. And if anybody on here is listening who is a prior service or in the military, you know who I'm talking about. It's that one guy that everybody freaking hates. It's that one guy, and that guy gets around, and he will bust you down in a heartbeat.
Right.
So, a lot of service members, and that's why they prey on people, on kids in school. They, I agree 100%. We should have a military, but we should not be Rome. We need to stay out of everybody else's business.
Right.
Honor the treaties that we have now, but we shouldn't be, entangling ourselves in foreign alliances. Period. Mm-hmm. And this is me talking. This is not Derrick Grayson's campaign. This is not ZEN in the car. This is me, Jason Turner, talking, saying, there's a lot of things that even I disagree with. I was deployed. I was in the Navy, but I did one deployment on a ship, 2 deployments embedded in the Army MP unit. Mm-hmm. The last 2 deployments I did, one was in Balad, one was at Camp Taji. Mm-hmm. So, when people hear Navy, they think, oh, just ships. Yeah. Not when your admiral runs the 5th Fleet, which is, for us, is the Southwest Asia. Yeah. So, there's a lot of cross-branch intermingling going on. And, they started taking over their customs inspections as troops were coming out in 06, 07, well, actually back to 05. And then they kept that whole operation going, and then they started taking over a lot more over at Balad and Biop and Camp Liberty. So, it's before they shut them all down, like when we left in 2010, Camp Taji, we were shutting it down. We shut down the prison there in 2010. So, but there's there's a lot of things. That brings me to a point that when I come back here, I decided I was going to go work for my local sheriff's office.
Right.
And, I lasted there maybe half a year because I realized how badly we were treating our brothers and sisters right here at home compared to people who are accused of committing terroristic, whatever they were accused of.
Right.
We had the International Committee of Red Cross. If I stepped on this detainee's foot, guess what? I'm standing in front of the board. And that to me, that's what it should be here. Mm-hmm. The drug war, it's a failed drug war. That all it does is breed more problems. Mm-hmm. And it's not helping anything at all.
Right.
You're not going to stop it. Hell, we can't even keep marijuana out of a prison. How are we going to keep it off the streets? We're not.
Right. Now, before I get into this next topic, tell the people out there what you have tattooed on your arm.
Well, which one? I know that's what you're talking about. I have it from my wrist all the way up to my elbow. It's We the People. It's tattooed in script from my wrist all the way to my elbow on my forearm.
Right. And
because I do believe in the founders' views of this country when it was the original inception of the Constitution of the United States of America.
Right. See, I think what's difficult for a lot of people who are new to us is they don't understand why we feel the necessity to intertwine spirituality or spiritual views with activism. And I'm like, well, that's what the fucking founding fathers did.
Right. Absolutely. They did. And even if you don't believe in a supreme being, I don't care who you believe in, it's your right to do so. And that the Constitution and the amendments give you that right.
Right.
You know, to me, so what if I offend you? Right. What happened? What occurred? I offended you. So what? Right. What happened? You know, what happened after that? Did you get hurt? Did I harm anybody? No, your feelings got hurt. So what?
Mm-hmm.
Don't get over. You know, if somebody offends me, who cares?
Right.
Nobody else cares if I got offended because I've got bigger things to worry about than being offended.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why I wish like we could have somebody on here who sees the other side of the ball so that, you know, we can actually sit here and talk and have a decent conversation. Because for you and I to sit here and to agree, I mean, we can agree on most things. Mm-hmm. Chances are we're probably not going to disagree on a whole lot. And I would like to be able to join a conversation with you where we do have somebody who disagrees to show that, you know, hey, you can have these disagreements and nobody gets harmed. Yeah, nobody gets butt hurt over it. Who cares, man? Yeah. You know, if you don't believe in God, that's your problem. That's your prerogative. Just, you know, stay out of my way while I believe in my God.
I try to see different philosophies and activism as perpendicular lines. Sure. You know, every now and then we're going to cross. You know, we might not be going the exact same way, but X marks the spot, right?
You know, and this is what I say is like, you know, we're fighting for liberty. You know, you're doing it your way and I'm doing it my way, but let's agree here that, you know, we're trying to get to this one particular spot. Maybe we can get there together.
Right, right. Now,
and then from there, you got it.
I wanted to mention that because I have been getting a lot of comments from people who listen that, oh, we don't understand the shows you've been doing are so spiritual, and I'm like, oh, well, the first ones were pretty political, and then I got the spiritual, and now I'm back to political. It's a mix because you got to be able to. Well,
it's good to have it, Daniel, and the people who, you know, you're not going to please everybody all at once, mm-hmm. And maybe this is just put it out. Okay, this is going to be a political topic. This is going to be a religious topic, or this is going to be both. You know, If you want to call in and say, hey, you know, we'll have this conversation. Let's have the conversation.
Right.
You know, let's not get into who's right and wrong, but let's get into the topic of, you know, what we can do together.
Yeah.
Even if you're an atheist, I'm not, and let's say you are, not you, but whoever it is. Okay, well, there's always a common ground between humans. Period. Mm-hmm. We're humans.
Right.
We all act the same in general. It's how people take their path that differs.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I like the idea of having alternate opinions because sometimes it opens my eyes, you know, and I'm like, you know, my best friend, well, I say my best friend, she's just a really, really good friend of mine. Mm-hmm. She is a left-wing liberal, but I love her to death. We can sit down, have conversations. I can agree to some things and disagree on the other, and same with her. Right. You know, she's not always saying, well, you're wrong because you believe what a Republican. No, it's not like that. We all have common ground. It's just finding that common ground and working for that goal.
Right. Right. Yeah, and it's hard for me to understand why a lot of people don't understand that you're going to have to row a boat with several different oarsmen. You know what I mean?
And I'll tell you that what I think's been good was, and I hate to cut you off there, but it's a thought that just, it's, you know, in the military. The first time I'd ever met a Filipino person was in the Navy when I went to boot camp, you know, and that was the first time I grew up here in rural Georgia, just, whew, you know, it was just so weird to see somebody that was Filipino. And I'm like, where did you come from?
Right.
Like, what language are you speaking? But then, you know, I got stationed in California. I'm like, you know, holy crap, we've got Hillcrest. It's the gay capital of the world.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, okay, well, you know, you you start to be around other people and understand where they're coming from. They're human.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why I say human. We all have something in common, and that's being human.
Right.
Human first.
Now, one of the reasons I want to have you on, besides Derrick Grayson and just to shoot the shit with you on the air, is you put out a video, I think it was last week, on YouTube.
I did.
Tell the listeners where they can find that video. I know they can find it on my Facebook wall, and why you put it up, and give them the description of it.
Well, I guess I'll have to give it to you, and you can post it on the website or something, because I don't really have a big YouTube channel. It's just kind of stuff that I throw out for people. But what this was is Joshua Luttrell. He's down in Atlanta. He's Veterans for Cannabis. He runs that organization. I've been working with James Bell. I'm his secretary treasurer for Georgia Care Project.
Mm-hmm.
For the campaign for access, reform, and education of medical cannabis. Well, I'm a participant in the VA, and the VA sends me my monthly meds, and I've never really thought about it until this month, and I'm like, because I'm a firm believer in medical cannabis, or just cannabis in general, for everybody. I don't care if you're sick or not. But what had happened was, it was like an epiphany, just went off in my head, and I'm like, I've got to document this. And I pulled out my sheet of all the different medications that I have, with all the different, what do they call that? Like the warning labels.
Right.
This thing, I've got a picture of it on my Facebook page. You can pull it and put it on ZEN in the car if people want to go there and check it out.
Mm-hmm.
It literally, I had to nail it up to the ceiling on one end of my apartment. I drug it across the floor to my stairs that lead up to my upstairs in my apartment. Mm-hmm. This thing is 13.5 feet long.
Right.
That is 1 month of medication for different ailments that they've got me on right now. And it was, I couldn't believe how much I was taking. And I'm like, this is just ridiculous. And I mean, it's anywhere from, I can't even pronounce the name of the crap they've got me on.
Right.
And what it is I got injured back in 2007. I got medevac home, and I have TBI. I have these debilitating migraines. So they've got me on 4 different medications simply for migraine. Mm-hmm. And some of them are for like anti-seizure medication for the muscle that, I don't know, whatever it does. I'm not a doctor. I'm not even going to try to explain what it does. But the thing is, with these medications, they all have to work together to counteract the effects of one.
Take a pill, take a pill, take a pill, take a pill.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what the doctor has done, and I've got it documented on my service record, or my record from the VA, that it was to counteract this one particular drug.
Right.
But the second one, or the third one, was to counteract the second one. I'm like, oh my God, because I sat here and started reading it. I'm like, I've never read it. And I've been doing this now with the VA for the past 3 years, taking all these medications. And I caught sick. I felt dead. I felt numb. Like I was a zombie, just a complete zombie.
Right.
Here's the kicker. We as veterans, even if they were to completely legalize marijuana in the state of Georgia,
right,
like they did in Denver. If you live in Denver or Colorado and you're a participant in the VA, if you have any kind of THC in your system whatsoever, when you go to do your screenings, whenever, if you get sick, they're testing. You will automatically be put on a list that you can receive medication of any kind of pain medicines, and that includes the stuff that they've got me on now. Right. For my brain. They had me on, what the hell was that? It was they had me on Dilaudid for a while. It was a patch. And then they kind of tapered off that, and then I went to another opiate. And then I finally just said, you know what? Enough's enough. And I come off, I went through DTs, man, like you would not believe, because I've been on it for 3 years.
Right.
So, I mean, over the past, I'd say, year and a half, I got clean. And, dude, I feel like the world has been lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have my days, like, where I get depressed because I still need that kind of medicine, but they don't treat the ailment.
Yeah,
they don't treat what's happening.
Ship
They
you
would
out.
rather, okay, here, no, they're going to send us 5 or 6 different types of medications. Let's try all these first, and that's a requirement. They have to do that because, when I went to get, some x-rays done on my back, my lower spine, there are certain criteria that they have to do, especially with the TBI clinic. Anybody that's been in there, they know exactly what, if you suffer from migraines, you have to suffer for at least 2 years before they'll even consider you to go in to have an MRI done and have the neurologist examine you. And this happened to me just a couple months ago. I've been fighting for 2 years to get in there to go see these people because of these migraines. So there's that protocol that we had to do. That's why I have 4 or 5 different medications. Then they got me 2 powerful anti-migraine, and I can give you the list if you need it, or if anybody's like, well, what was it on? I'll give it to you. I don't care. Yeah. And now, my doctor had my primary care provider put in a consult. Well, he straight up denied me. He was like, here, we're going to try this medication and see how this works, and we're going to bring him in for some more blood work. That was 6 months ago. So then finally, he said, we'll go ahead and see him. And I'm thinking to myself, thank God I can finally go see a neurologist. Well, they they had me on the schedule to go in February. Mm-hmm. Well, it turns out they had to change my schedule for me to come in. In their notes, they sent me a letter and called twice. Look, I've waited 2.5, 3 years for this. There's no way that I would have ever missed a letter and 2 phone calls from the VA. And now we're having to start this whole process over again. And it's like,
so
here I am. Daniel, you were there in Gainesville during that baby boo-boo rally when I had to go to the ER because I caught a freaking migraine.
Yep.
You saw how quickly that thing come on. That was a prime example. It just out of nowhere. Yeah. And I'm down. I'm down for the count. Thank God for Sabrina.
Yeah, you were filming. I saw that. Then I gave up. I went up to give my speech, and the next thing I know, you're gone. And I'm like, where the hell did Turner go? And when I got off the platform, she was, hitting my phone up, and she's like, you need to come to the emergency room right now. It was that quick. Quick.
So, I mean, those are the things that we have to deal with. But in the meantime, if we haven't run through this procession of medication, they're not going to see it. Right. They're just not going to do it because they have too many people. So I got on the phone with my primary care provider, and I'm like, look, doc, you got to fix this because and I know, and my record shows that I don't miss my appointments unless it's a damn emergency. And he's trying, but this guy, I sent him an email because the lady I went down to when I got x-rays of my spine, and she was like, yeah, he's an asshole. If you miss one thing, he'll put you to the back of the line real quick. And I'm thinking to myself, that is not how we treat people. No. It takes me almost 2 hours to get there from here to the Decatur VA.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like to me, Turner, it's ship you out, shoot you up, and then shut you up.
Pretty much. And if you fight back, I've got a good friend of mine. I tried to get him on tonight, but I couldn't get in touch with him. He's been to DC fighting these people because the Atlanta VA really, really did a number to him. And I don't want to ruin it for somebody because this is going to be a conversation that needs to be held. And if there's anybody still listening to the conversation that Daniel and I are having, if we can get Chris on this phone, man, this dude will let you have it, because he to the point he doesn't care anymore, like, at all. You know, I still kind of feel like, you know, there's a fighting chance, but for him, you know, and rightfully so, when you hear a story, you'll go, wow. Wow.
I know his story. I've been working behind the scenes to get him on the air. It's just things hadn't fallen through. I've seen the documents, and it's fucked up, man. It's really messed up that you guys are lied to. You know, you're promised this you're on a quest to receive the golden gauntlet of Grail or whatever, and then you get over there and you realize my government lied to me about everything, and then you get PTSD, you get shot up, you get banged up, and then you get back and you're like, well, maybe they're going to be compassionate about fixing me up, seeing as how I can't sleep. I have insomnia all the time. I have flashbacks. I hear a crack, you know, in the floor. I go around my entire house with a loaded 9mm, you know, things like that. And his story, you know, I want to dedicate a full 2 hours to his story and let people.
It'll definitely take it.
Yeah, you know, it's going to take because I want to bring attention, the people that listen, you know, we out there, who are in alternative media and everything, we ask for donations and stuff like that. And I guess people who listen think that, you know, we're on a big salary or something like that. No, we do this so that we can bring you stories like this.
Right.
So that you can get involved and not be a keyboard warrior. Cause me and you both know we've been out there doing shit in our state to make a difference in multiple issues that all connect at personal blood and what treasure we have left, and haven't gotten a damn dime off of it. And you know, people think when you do this type of work, you're doing it for self-glorification or whatever. No, it's because, for one thing, my dad was a vet. I know he had PTSD. I saw it. You know, I've had PTSD, but not from combat, and I know what a damn nightmare it is. And I know that you know, it's easier for me because I just use my First Amendment and I partake of cannabis as my freedom of worship for my medicine.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, you know, Daniel, there's somebody there are some people out here that people generally forget about, and that's the spouses of these service members who are coming back, who are messed up, who need help, you know, and God bless her soul, like Victoria, you know, I don't know what I'd do without her, man. She's given me everything I could ever ask for in a woman.
Yep.
You know, she's been there for me, and I know there's been times that I've just given her grief, you know, and it's like, she just stands there like, you know, she does the right thing. And once these little episodes pass and I'm good for a couple of weeks, you know, it's like, wow, you know, I didn't realize I was acting like that, you know, and I don't get that. I used to get violent. This is back when I first, in 2007 and 2008, I wouldn't say violent, but I would have these outbursts, you know, and it was like, I was in denial. Like, I everything was fine to me. Everything was hunky-dory, you know, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with me. It's all you, you know, and now looking back on it, I'm like, but this, you know, this wasn't with her. This was well before I met her, you know, and it's like, for her, man, that's why I put a ring on it. You know what I mean? You find that one person that you click with, and they click with you, and they understand, they get it. Yeah. You know, you love the person to no end. And that's why I say these are the people that they're the forgotten ones.
Right.
We get forgotten by the VA, but the service member spouses and mothers and fathers, they are the ones that they are forgotten about. The caregivers for people who are you know, they come back and they have to take care of them because they get so messed up, and it chokes me up thinking about it, man, because I just lost my best friend to this damn war.
Yeah.
You know, and he was my brother, man. Like, you know, it's tough because it could have been prevented.
Yeah.
All they did was he went from 145 pounds to 360. and then it was just the medications that kept doping him up, putting him in the psych ward. And
oh yeah, that's a good trick. All of us PTSDers get the psych ward, don't we?
Right. And that's, to me, that's the wrong thing to do, man, because all you're doing is doping them up till they can act a little good, and then you release them back out.
Yeah.
Say goodnight, and that's what happened.
It's happened. It happens more often than people think, and it tears families apart. It's one of the reasons that my family got tore apart. And like I've said to other people with PTSD, we're like a secret society. We can identify each other a mile away, and we don't have to really say a word. We just know. It's like going to AA if you're an alcoholic. We all speaking the same language. You've been there? Yeah, I've been there. You got to tell me your horrible story? No, I know exactly what the fuck you're going through. And outsiders look at us like, oh, he's got a problem. He just can't stop doing this or doing that. You people have no clue what we're trying to drown out.
Right. And I'll tell you what, the PTSD comes in many, 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 many different forms. Mm-hmm. And, if anybody's married to someone who's got PTSD, dude, God bless you. Because if you can hang in there with them, you've got somebody that will protect you with their life. But you've also got somebody who doesn't see reality sometimes the same way that you do. And it needs that people that suffer from post-traumatic stress in any situation need that somebody who's so much more stronger than they are mentally to keep them going. And, like I said, when I met her, that was my breath of fresh air. And I tell you what, man, I've changed my ways. I've changed my habits. I've changed everything.
Yeah.
And it's not because she wanted me to. It's because deep down inside I knew I had to, and she was right there to support me. So if there's anybody out there that's listening, their family is caregivers, God bless you. I thank you every day for staying with that person who suffers, because it is a difficult process to do. And the VA is not ready for it.
Right.
They are not ready for it. They'll narc you up with all kind of stuff and
Yeah.
Not on it anymore, and I was up to 225 pounds. I'm down to like 170 now, but it's what that does to you, and it turns you, it kills you.
And for me, I found that it's a path, and we got just a short amount of time before the break, and I don't know how long your battery life is, or if you got a crash there, but for me, it's been a path of certainly not psychotropic drugs to alleviate my post-traumatic stress disorder. It's been God's natural herbs, a practice of meditation, stillness, spirituality, and those who you can surround yourselves with that know that that's the path and allow you that path and don't want to crucify you or burn you at the stake or call you, names and have you forced medicated to fix the damn problem that is for the most part their fault because they didn't endure it and judged you into it to begin with. Right.
And see, that's why me as an individual, I've chosen to support medical cannabis. And, I also support people's right to smoke recreationally.
Right.
But, if they really want to help veterans, that's the way to do it, man.
Yeah.
Even if they've got to break it down into pill form, put some THC, mix some nice concoction of THC, CBD, look, that stuff is a miracle. It is a miracle. I've seen it happen. I've seen the miracle it brings. But, we're criminals.
Well, me and you are both intuitive people. We tend to listen to the spirit, and we also happen to live in the same state. And I got to tell the people out there listening, you guys better watch Georgia in the next year or so. You really better watch as an assemblage of people of like minds. We're probably going to shake this country to the core. So, Turner, thank you for coming on at the very last second. I appreciate it. And, man,
anytime.
All right, man, I'll hit you up after the show is over with. I appreciate you coming on, man. I really do. Talk to you later, brother.
Take care.
Mm-hmm. Whew. After that hour I could finally take a breath. I think that was the fastest hour I've ever done. And you guys who are listening, either live or you're listening on the rebroadcast, it's funny how things work on the back end. I'm an amateur at this radio thing. This is my first time doing it. It's the first time I've had a scheduled guest. I had it prepared, and then literally the day of, he had to cancel for something more important, which is his daughter. And I had a good friend and buddy who was ironically, contextually connected to the topic. And, anybody that I call my friend, let me tell you something. Those guys are my friends. And, Jason Turner is one of them. And we see each other face to face very rarely, as most of my friends do. But whenever we get together, it doesn't matter if I've had, just an hour of sleep, or I'm on a 7-day insomnia trip, which is, if you can believe it, the current moment. We seem to sync up with each other's frequencies. And right before the show, I was desperately on different earpieces and different Skypes and things, trying to find a replacement guest and make it fit and everything. And Turner was like, "Yeah, dude, I'll do it." And I'm like, "Great, come on the show." And he's like, "But I can only be there a minute, because I've already taken my meds and they make me go to sleep." And I'm like, "Shit." And then that just happened. I was expecting us both to kind of fall asleep 10 minutes into it. But, not only do we fill the fastest hour in radio, we filled it with more important topics that people out there who just listen to alternative media and don't really, do activism and get to see the faces of the people and why we're so impassioned about doing activism and going to phony Republican debates, knowing that it's a farce, and, having to give our money just to get in the door to get a candidate through. Yeah. By now, anybody listening to this show knows that the Republicans and the Democrats, it's a joke. It's a farce. But, we've got to hit the establishment, whatever your definition of the establishment is, in any possible way that we can. And having candidates like Derrick Grayson run in the Republican Party for a Senate, it may not be the end-all, be-all answer, but it's a part of the answer for bringing about real change in this country and in this world, all over this world. And so anybody who can hear my voice and heard Turner's voice in the last hour, if we moved you in any way, if we hit home in any way at all, you got to understand that we are not two radio personalities or internet bloggers. We're real people with real stories who've seen some really horrible things done by a machine that we've all been trying to identify as them or they, the controllers, what have you. Okay? And we're real people. We don't do it for fame or for fortune, or we sure shit don't do it for that. We do it because these types of topics that we're talking about on American Freedom Radio and on Zen in the Car Radio, they're the key issues that we're trying to inspire and empower other people to get involved with. Everybody's got their pet topic, whether it be yoga or meditation, and I don't care about politics, or it's just politics and this and that. Well, you know what? We don't live in a world where it's that cookie cutter. We live in a world of diversity, and this is bigger than an American thing. It's bigger than a Georgia thing. It's a global thing. It's big. We're all connected in some way or another, and we stop seeing the divisions amongst ourselves with stupid titles, white, black, Republican, Democrat, and those of us who really see the truth at what's really going on. Those who are really spiritually in tuned to what the founders called divine providence. I don't care what you call it today. The source, whatever your pet name is, call it Bob for all I care, but it's there. And if you feel it and you hear it, drop your label of whatever label, your denomination, your religion, your political slant. Are you a truther? Are you a liberty movement? Stop with the semantic, the maze of semantics that is keeping us entrapped in this system. And help people like Danny Romero of American Freedom Radio, keep broadcasts like this and voices like ours coming to you on a regular basis, because believe me, it's not going in our pockets and our banking accounts. It's going so that we can propel the real revolution that's going on within each and every one of us, the real revolution. And it's bigger than Trump or Hillary or whatever your pet issue is. It's bigger than that. And so, you know, I know that everybody is out there hurting, and yes, that is by design. All of us are under financial straits. All of us are under the straits of family stress because of post-traumatic stress disorder and regular traumatic stress disorder. Chuck O'Celli on the O'Celli Effect last night had a guest that I listened to, and she was probably one of the best guests that I've ever heard speak about mind control and MK Ultra. And you guys who are like, wow, now he's talking about MK Ultra and conspiracy theories, open your damn mind. It's connected to your issue too. Just drop your dictionary of preference. Okay? Don't stop tuning in or stop listening to what I'm saying or what people of like mind are saying because you got this pet word. Okay? Post-traumatic stress disorder, MK Ultra, it's all the same thing, just different words. You listened to Chuck O'Celli's show last night, and in that context, and the guest, I can't quite remember her name, I think it's an alias, and that's understandable. You listen to her explanation of why, as a society and as a civilization, we are intentionally traumatized. And then you listen to what me and Turner were just talking about on individual levels. And you start to make connections about these issues. Don't turn off one host because, well, I'm not really into, you know, holistic medicine and gardening, but I am into hearing about people bitch about the debates last night only. You know, let's make a chili of your ideologies. Maybe, you know, I've always explained it's like, it's like when you put your nose up to a television set, you see one colored dot. Okay? And you isolate it on that. But it's us crazy people out here who sit across the living room on the couch that can see the whole picture, not just the individual dot. It's all connected. Everything is connected. And you don't have to be spiritual. You don't have to be a quantum physicist, or any of that, to understand that how your life is deliberately controlled on an individual level is interconnected with everyone's. And we start to see ourselves as a whole and stop, you know, coming at each other with hate and misunderstanding and ignorance is really what it is. And I've always said that sin by definition is ignorance. If you think about what every harmful action is done because a person is ignorant of some universal law or truth. And that's true. And me and Turner, you know, I knew he was getting emotional. Me and him have had emotional phone conversations back and forth, and it's been a tremendous, and like he said, the relationship that he has with his lady, his fiance, is, I understand exactly what he's talking about, because there's been times where I've called him when I've started to get a trigger, hyperventilating, and he knew exactly what to say, exactly when to say it. And he said, calm down, dude, calm down. You know this. You got this. You got this. And he walked me off the ledge, you know, and brought me back to sanity, you know, because we're a team. We are a team. And we have to, as a species, start seeing each other that way and stop picking pet issues we're going to throw a dollar bill to support because, oh, that's not really connected to my issue. You know, no, look, I'm telling you, it's very emotional for me and Turner to talk about stuff like that, especially on air. It's an awkward position because you're literally on the verge of just breaking down into tears, just discussing it. You know, you just don't know. And I think we held together pretty good, but it was something that everybody out there needs to hear. And if you don't believe, you know, don't really understand post-traumatic stress disorder or mental disorders, how to properly treat them, the obstacles that we're having to go through to have these issues addressed, you need to educate yourself. You need to open up more books than your pastor tells you to read, incorrectly at that. You need to watch more YouTube videos of people who look a little funny or talk about a few funny things. And you need to take 2 hours rather than 10 frickin' minutes and get a little of enlightenment. We don't live in a 10-minute world, 10-minute streams of information. Really understand the world. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Hang on just a moment. Sorry about that, guys. We're having gremlins in the system. Trying to figure out what that is, but it'll come to me when it's supposed to. But guys, really, if you gathered anything from that past hour, I really, really, really want you to drop ignorance in the face of not understanding the conditions of mental disorders and what a person goes through. If you don't have the time issues to invest a little bit of knowledge, the best thing you can do is do no frickin' harm to the person that's apparently suffering from it. Because until you know what they're suffering from, you certainly don't know what cures they need. You at all. You're going to do more harm. We can all tell you, anybody who has it can tell you horror stories of what spouses, what family members, close family members have done out of ignorance that tore our minds apart even worse than a little bit of understanding, education, and dealing with the situation in a proper and holistic, non-judgmental way. So sorry if the vets wasn't your issue or PTSD wasn't your issue or any of that, but what's all this about anyway? If it's not about American Freedom Radio, what's more than just American freedom, it's universal freedom. And so if you guys could, if you're not able to do the things that me and Turner and other people, and I'm not tooting our horns. I'm tooting Turner's horn, and I toot the horn of anybody who I have had the honor and privilege of walking streets with pamphlets, of knocking on doors with certain candidates, of going to bullshit political meetings for a majority of stuff that we know those people don't give a damn about the veterans. It's just lip service for the couch potatoes at home who are going to watch the debates and hear key phrases. If you're not able to actually get out there with us, or you're too apathetic because of ignorance, then do something. Go to if you hear something like this, like on American Freedom Radio, hit donate $1. Okay? It's not hard. It's not that hard. It's not going to hurt you. It's less than a soda a day, and you have no idea how much it's helping voices that are not being, the voices of people like Turner and other veterans that I know are voiceless. It's none of your candidates that are up there running for president. It's none of your crusty old guys at the Republican meetings. None of them that you'll pour buckets of campaign money into to get them on this world stage. And you think they really, really, really do give a damn. When all we are asking in states like Georgia is it okay if we do something and exercise our First Amendment right and bypass all your OCGA, mumbo jumbo, legal horse shit to use a medicine to cure what you caused by sending us to phony wars that we didn't sign up to go fight? Can you do that, please? So sorry if I sound angry. It does make me angry. It makes me very, very emotional. Apathy is one of the worst. It's one of the worst diseases I've ever encountered in my life, And I've known a lot of people, and I could call a list of names of just apathetic people who are opinionated out the ass, but won't lift a finger for people who really do things. It just really, really upsets me. They make assumptions, about who we are through their computer screen, where we're at, what we're doing, And oh, they don't really need our help. That's just to line their pockets. Guys, you have no idea what it takes this network to put on shows on a daily basis for you to pick and choose what your pet topic is when they're offering quality stuff that American Freedom Radio offers. A diverse team of voices that can wake some of you up who still haven't woken up. You know, it's bigger than politics. It's bigger than conspiracy theories. It's bigger than what your stupid religion is. It's bigger than your choice of diet or how you meditate or what music you listen to, or it's bigger than all that. You know, you need to start putting human faces on it. You know, and anybody anybody who's out there that has experienced post-traumatic stress disorder of any type, like I said to Turner on the air, you guys are probably, you know, saying amen, you know. This is our church. None of this was really needed to be explained. But thank God Turner did come on. And none of it was scripted at all. We just spoke from the heart. And that's the way the universe works. And if you're hearing it, you're supposed to hear it, you know, because, you know, maybe the universe is asking for your help in some type of a way. Now, Turner is more versed in what's going on inside the VA. He's very prolific with information like that. He can give you all the technical jargon, whereas I cannot. And I intend to be bringing him and other people like him on who speak that language to educate us further. But I think that tonight was perfect for a shotgun blast about, you know, Derrick Grayson and how that most people don't make connections like these, especially in a single broadcast. Like stick to one. We'll stick to one topic. And, you know, maybe it's because me and Turner are a little crazy like that, but you just saw how we connected, I don't know how many different topics to each other, how they all interact, and how, you know, we can make a difference by picking something where we can help, like maybe supporting Derrick Grayson. Okay? I don't like the Republicans. Well, you know what? I don't really like the damn Republicans either. And I don't really, honestly, and I'm not speaking for him because I know how that would play. I don't really know personally how Derrick Grayson thinks about the Republicans, and wouldn't presume to speak for him. But I know I like Derrick Grayson because I know truth when I see truth. And, you know, as they say, the truth will make you free. So you find truth in another soul, another spirit, regardless of what outer skin or cloak or title, you know, they happen to have on, and you pick up on that. Let your ignorance fade, man. It doesn't matter if you're pro-troop, anti-troop, for the VA, for the state, for this senator, this governor, this party. You know, you got to see past that and look for the undercover universal truth of all of us being connected and here for a purpose, which is to heal each other from the multiple damages, abuses, and victimhoods that we've all experienced in our life through that to show our strength. So, you know, sorry about that rant, but it really fires me up because people who sit on the bench and they don't put any skin in the game, they don't really know how many countless nights, sleepless nights, comfortless nights people like Turner, you know, and other people have suffered because of feeling like we're alone, nobody understands us, our own minds are breaking because of other people sending us off to do this for this cause that they had no clue about, we were ignorant of at the time, and we've all suffered a great amount. And it's a horrible thing, you know. And I apologize if you don't hear radio show hosts come out as I'm a man who believes that a man with no secrets is a man with no weaknesses. What you hear on the radio that's pretty much what you get. Whenever I turn that, I'm content to go to sleep with that guy. You can hate me, you can love me, you know, and most of the people I choose to have on that I know on a personal basis, I know to be the same way. And so it may not get the ratings up or get my book sales up or whatever, but it's going to wake some people up who are of like mind and like kindred spirit. So I urge you to really, like I was saying there at the end of the last break, you guys need to be paying attention to what's going to be happening in the state of Georgia. Because when the collection of activists came together that I had the honor and privilege of I quote, served with in '08 and onwards up until today, I know them to be the most diverse, passionate, intellectual, real human beings who have this one common mission, and it is the religion of freedom and liberty. Okay? And it's nothing that you can write, and some people can call, well, the Constitution is just a piece of paper. It doesn't mean anything. I've even heard people on alternative media start to spout that. Those other people think it's an inspired document. You know what? It's not an inspired document so much as that it's inspired truth that some very wise men in 1776 happened to pin down. You ignorant shit. It's not. It has nothing to do with terminology that's on a piece of paper from colonial America. It's a language of the heart, and it burns in people across every swath that you can imagine. Drop your semantic maze of misunderstanding and ignorance, because it's doing harm. So pay attention to what's going on in Georgia, because I'm telling you, we've had a rough couple of years as a group, a collective group down here. But I happen to have a good feeling, call it intuition, call it divine providence, call it what you will, events just happening, behind the scenes that we can speak about on the air for some reasons, and for some reasons we choose to keep close to our pockets or our chest. But there's going to be some things happening in this state that I think are going to change the country and send ripples throughout the world. You could say the stars are going to collide in one place. And just pay attention to Georgia. It may be that if you guys are listening in other parts of the world or the country, well, down there in Georgia, what are they doing? Let me tell you something. It's never where you expect it to happen. Great change. It's always in the back door. And whatever your idea of the state of Georgia is, you ought to spend some time with some of these guys that have come together here. Jason Turner being one of them. Deeply intelligent men, passionate men, spiritual men, diverse men, and understanding men and women. I say men as not being misogynistic. But a really unique team of people are coming together. And let me tell you, if you got several matches lit across a map and you bring them all together, we know what happens. You're going to get a fire bigger than you possibly could have imagined. And now I'm going to take another breath, because I finally looked at the board and I see that I have my passenger seat guest who we had trouble getting on. Go ahead, introduce yourself while I take a breath, bud.
All right, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, thank you.
Man, my computer has been doing some weird things today. But anyway, my name's Jesse Horn. I had an alias that I was writing under that you might know. For Zen in the Car is Thomas Sands.
That's correct.
I think it's served its purpose, and I dropped it. So you can catch me on Facebook, and Zen in the Car is Jesse Horn now. So I'm a writer, political activist, freedom fighter, as some would define it. Atheist, which I wanted to bring up before, but I couldn't get in the call.
Sorry, man. Now you got plenty of time, because I'm going to chill for a minute.
All right. Well, I'm not good with leading things, so you might have to hold off for breathing until later, man.
Oh, okay. Well, Jesse is a new writer for Zen in the Car, and if you guys haven't really wrapped your head around what Zen in the Car is as a team or a brand, so to speak, just go to the About page. Yep. It's right there. It's about the shortest explanation, but it's what I've been saying for the past 24 minutes. What you've heard the past hour and 24 minutes. It's not that hard to grasp. And, it's like American Freedom Radio is, their host, their network. It's a team, of people, and they're serving in their area. And that's
it's a diverse group of people too. People need to realize that when they go to the website. You know, we all come from different backgrounds, different belief systems and whatnot. But like you were saying earlier, what I caught was, we all believe in some of the same things, and that's freedom and individual liberty, you know?
Right. Okay. Now, sorry, the PTSD thing in Turner really, it got me emotional because I knew how much it took for him to hold together.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of him for that, for being able to do that, especially under the pressure of being on the radio and having people listen to your nakedness. And, you know, but like I say, as a writer, which that was my bouncing off point. This is just a different medium of that. I've always said, bleed yourself on the page, be open and honest, and make some reader out there say, oh my God, I've thought that. You know, I'm not alone. I found myself in a book, and it translates the same way across any medium, especially, you know, what you're listening to here, you know, and, so that's what I say to people. Just drop your facade of, you know, to a world out there, and just bleed yourself out there to the world, and your life will be a little bit different, you know.
Well, I completely understand your frustration. It's a damn shame when the government gets young people and whatnot to give their lives, their time and energy, and, you know, possibly even give their lives in service to the country, quote unquote. And then when they get back, you want to fuck them up, and that's really something I struggle with. I have to control myself. I get angry as hell, and it's easy to jump to conclusions or jump to ideas, and you need to take a step back and really see what can we do to bring about the change that we want to see, because it just makes me angry.
Yeah. It makes me angry too. That's why I suggest smoking weed rather than taking drugs, because it shows you the hell out.
Or, you know, do whatever is your thing, you know. Some people it's weed, some people it's Coke, some people it's a double burger from Burger King, or double Whopper or whatever. I don't know if we're allowed to say shit like that. Advertisement for whatever, but
First Amendment.
There you go.
Yeah, it crosses everything. It crosses, you know, what we were talking about with Santos, the fluoridation in your water. You know, I mean, I see so many people who are, you know, I'm a 3%er or whatever, and they're going, all you crazy fluoride water conspiracy theorists. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. You know, if you guys with the guns would get with the guys with the brains and the books, and you know, you might actually.
Some of those people have brains too. It's just it doesn't seem like they use them. You know, like I said, I've checked out 3%er forums and stuff because they wasn't active in my area, but it's the same shit you see over and over. Continuing with the diversity. Diversity, like I say, is a tool of tyranny. You know, we need to let these petty things aside and start really working together. And I think that's the most important thing. Kind of like Jason was saying earlier, I believe. Like I've said before, like everyone said before, you know.
Yeah.
Religious beliefs, skin color, whatever. It doesn't matter. If you want freedom, you need to work with people who want freedom as well.
Yeah. And something that me and you have been banging our heads with over the past few weeks since you came on board with Zen in the Car, off the air, is, you know, where do we go from here, man? Where do we go from here, especially after Oregon? And it looks like all hope is shattered, all hope is lost. And you and I have spent hours, you know, in the middle of the night and past that, brainstorming, you know, going, what is a really, really effective way for us to really bring about this revolution, rather than everybody trying to build their own little church, you know?
Right.
And we're still working on it. But one of the ideas that me and you came up with is, first, especially after Oregon, which this isn't about Oregon. This is about, the after effects. Is I believe, and you agreed, that the first thing that needs to be done is we need to create a think tank, a serious think tank. This was something that go ahead.
Full of level-headed, logical, reasonable guys, not hot-headed people. I think there's a place for hot-headedness, and it's not coming up with strategy.
Yeah. That's what I said. I said, the face of the liberty movement was for a big chunk of the past couple of years, the militia movement. And I'm not bashing the militia movement, okay? But I'm saying when it's all militia movement, look what happens.
Right.
When it has one face, like the 9/11 people, look what'll happen to it. Okay?
Right.
The beauty of 1776 and those men were that they had the foreknowledge, the wisdom, the spiritual intuition to know you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just look at the last wheel and how you make it better. Right?
Do you want me to give you the definition of the militia movement according to the Anti-Defamation League?
Please do.
Quote unquote from the website. The militia movement is a relatively new right-wing extremist movement consisting of armed paramilitary groups, both formal and informal, with an anti-government, conspiracy-oriented ideology. What a reputation to have. People, to me, I don't like the idea of a militia movement, and that's just my opinion. We're all the militia, any able-bodied man or woman, in my opinion. Adult, I guess whatever you define as adult, I guess, old enough to make your own decisions, I guess be that. But, we're all the militia. And it's my personal belief that we're not going to, there's no leadership in the militia because we're all literally the militia. And to me, I think there needs to be a group, an organization with leadership, with rules where we clearly define what we believe. That way the media can't go in and say, well, look at these right-wing, quote-unquote, extremists. Look at these racists. But, well, no, we need to have documentation stating this is what we believe, and if you don't believe in this, you don't support the cause. And then the media can't turn it against us. Because you can't kick someone out of the militia. You can't have a hot-headed idiot, ignorant fool standing up, kind of like an Oregon situation, in some cases at least, portraying ignorance like that. And you can't say, oh, well, you're not in the militia anymore, because that's not the definition of militia. But you can do that in an organized group. You can kick them out. And they deserve to be kicked out if they're misrepresenting you. And I think that's where people get mixed up. But I think that's the direction we need to head. It takes level-headed guys who are vetted, as Chuck would say, who know what they're doing.
Right. Yeah. People we're going to have to take the blinders off of our particular issues, man. If there's anything I can beat home, if you're gonna bring about freedom of liberty, whatever your definition of it is, it's gonna have to be death by 1,000 cuts. We're gonna have to come up with a new strategy, because there's not one that's gonna get it. This is not not a hydra. It's got to be death by 1,000 cuts. And
there's so many angles that you can go about it, and we have to take all of those angles.
Yeah. And like I've kind of been hinting at, I think I have a good feeling that something's going to be happening here in my state. Just maybe it's in the wind. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see what fortune deals us down here. And, maybe some things will be going on, and it's not going to be any Malheur refuge, thing like that. I assure you it's going to be, it's something better than that. It's going to
I can't wait to get back to Georgia. For the listeners out there, I'm originally from Georgia, Macon, Georgia. I'm actually familiar with there.
Where are you now?
Wyoming. Great
You're
state of, great cowboy state.
Yeah. And it just so happens the universe is going to be bringing you back to.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yep. Sounds exciting. And really, I've kind of put up my activist spurs for the past, with the exception of doing radio and when I write for the past year or so, because of personal reasons, responsibilities, obligations I have at home like we all do. But, the universe is kind of unfolding it to where I might have to be putting those spurs back on pretty soon.
I would hope so.
Well, let's hope so, man, because
we need you, man.
We really do. The people who are listening out there, and I know that American Freedom Radio has listeners around the world, putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And, the hosts on this network are great because, we're all pieces of the puzzle, But you guys out there have to remember that it's a puzzle. You don't get impatient with assembling the thing, and lose sight of the fact that it makes one big interconnected picture. And if you leave one out, you're going to miss it, man. If you don't like when I come on the air and talk about reincarnation and all that, and you go, oh, no, I don't like that piece, and you throw it in the trash bin. Okay, well, next week when I get to who I believe should be the senatorial candidate, you're not going to understand the context because you're missing a critical piece, man. So,
well, I can say, I don't care too much about some topics you speak about, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to come in and listen in and be a part of the ones I do care about.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I was saying earlier about being a diverse group. We all have our different beliefs, but our core beliefs are the same. So I think there's a place for everything. I don't know. Somehow we need to get out the message more, and that's what I always aim for, but it shouldn't, replace other things.
Right. No, absolutely not, man. I would rather watch, paint dry than watch the Democratic debate or fucking Republican debate. I seriously would rather watch that. But for the sake of being able to put things in context, I do it so that I won't have to depend on the opinions of other people, all the time.
Yeah.
But I think that's been a huge weapon of the establishment or the they or the them or the oppressors or the Illuminati or whatever, right, is to strategically reduce our attention spans to 10-minute YouTube clips. Okay? Right. I'll see a 10-minute or 5-minute YouTube clip of a chick getting hit in the head with a damn shovel, okay, that has insane million of views, right? And I'll see maybe, a 2-hour, say, Santos Bonacci presentation that has substantially fewer, and that's by design.
Right. It's all about dedication, seriousness. It's easy for you to want to be entertained all day and ignore the problems that's going on and believe what the media tells you. But in the end, you just kind of have to dedicate time to it.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's been by design. I mean, and look, I'm not saying I'm not one of these guys. Technology is a bad thing. Technology is a horrible. Look, things are what you make them. Okay. If you use your smartphone to have your process of living sped up to where you no longer pay attention to the process of life, okay, it's making you quote unquote ADD, right? You see so many people doing that. I like to take long walks. This sounds like a fucking green card. I like to take long walks in the woods, Jesse, but I do. I like to put on some slow music and just observe individual leaves of individual trees and find a universe in that moment. And meanwhile, while I'm looking at that universe and just, slowing down, I don't know how many people running past me, in the woods doing their jogging thing, listening to whatever 10-minute snippets. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's by deliberate design that our attention span has been brought down to short things. Attention deficit disorder is not just a clinical diagnosis, it's a spiritual and intellectual one that, to an extent, you allow it to come upon you. Everything is by your allowance, really. All your victimization.
My attention span is super short. I guess it's because of my generation, how I was raised on technology. But when you don't really care about something, you're not going to spend more than 5 minutes looking at it. So, how do you make people care?
Right. Yeah, that's that apathy. Right? I'm not, I better not do that because I might get in trouble. But anyway. Yeah, it's all connected. Everything is connected. And that's not what quote unquote crazy people say. It's what intelligent people say and can prove through hard work of, slowing down, maybe reading a book from time to time, just slowing down the pace of life. We've been conditioned, man. And it's part of the problem. And part of the solution is you gotta have a bigger attention span so you can start to connect these issues that you, me, and Jason Turner, and Chuck O'Celli, and Derrick Grayson, and all the great patriots down here in Houston County, Georgia, have done for a long time at no profit whatsoever.
Right. If you're about monetary gain, you're the enemy. This isn't something that's going to help you get rich. It's something that's going to help you to be free. Hopefully.
Well, it'll make you rich in a different type of way, in a different context.
Well, yeah.
But I hope that anybody listening out there has heard it in the passion of our voices. That the main thing is to start doing something. Something. Do it for something. And
I think it. Oh, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Oh, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say it goes beyond posting memes. If all your friends believe what you believe on Facebook, that you spread out this truth and they like it, that's good. That's awesome that y'all can agree. But that's not helping win the hearts and minds of other people. Mm-hmm. And that's really what we need. There is a place for spreading information, but there's also, you can say all day online or whatever that you're a 3%er and you're willing to die for your rights or whatever. But when are you going to take a step outside and really do that?
Yeah. And, I've you know me, man. Since the beginning of this thing, we've had private conversations and we've talked about Oregon and stuff like that off the air. And even with personal connections, I personally feel that it's my responsibility as a true journalist, to, despite having personal connections in that situation, say what the hell I really thought about it as a whole. And I think that I have, and I think that you can let the listeners know out there that I have, both on air and off air, as it was going on, because it's easy to do the football team, baseball team, political team, pick your side. Are you for the Oregon? That's easy to do because it takes very little consciousness to do that.
Yeah. And we've disagreed on a couple issues in Oregon. I think I'm the minority here amongst our little group here, but I'm almost tired of talking about it. I watched, they released new footage, by the way. I don't know if you mentioned that on air yet, but, they released the footage of in the vehicle. that someone was taken. It showed Victoria and I believe Ammon Bundy and someone else, and it showed the audio. If you're looking for audio, that's what you need to find that video, the new organ footage. You can find it on Google or whatever. We'll put it on the car Facebook as well. People might ask me, why do you do what you do? Or why are you so dedicated to this? And one small reason, not small at all, but one part of this puzzle of why I'm so dedicated, why other people are so dedicated to the cause is, they see the things that the state does against its people, quote unquote, that they're supposed to represent. Seeing Lavoie go down, no matter how I feel about Oregon's situation, to see him murdered by armed thugs, it's very motivational. Because if you don't want to make change after seeing something like that, you're a horrible person, in my opinion. I've heard people say that he deserved to die. For what?
Yeah, I've seen the whole gamut. And I have my opinion, which we don't have enough time left in the show, for me to tell you my opinion.
Right.
But it's probably not going to be one that most people want to hear, but the truth is the truth, and you can't hide from the truth. I'll summate it by saying, yes, I've seen the new footage. Yes, I have been, I'm sure, blacklisted for many radio shows after giving my opinion of the first footage that was released, which was not a popular opinion. Okay. You may not even agree. Well, you're probably not going to agree with me. And I'm not going to be vile enough, but I've had some other show hosts and people say that some horrible things about me because I just said what I saw, man. As somebody,
Yeah, and that's just your opinion. I mean, we all have different opinions. And it's upsetting to me sometimes when I think, oh, well, this person doesn't agree with me. I'm going to get angry. But you can't do that. We're all about the same thing.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's hard to wrap this show up. This has been one of the fastest schizophrenic radio broadcasts I've ever been on. In 2 hours. But that's anybody who has sat down and had a cup of coffee or something like that with me in person knows that that's exactly who I am. I make connections that fast, and I manage to get other people to do it as well, or like-minded people who already do it get together in a room, and it all comes out and it all makes sense, and either you understand it and you catch it or you don't, right? And so I hope it's said something to somebody, and I hope it's inspired somebody to do something, whether it be, move to Georgia, or, donate to American Freedom Radio, you don't know how tremendously helpful that is. I assure you, okay, people who are doing what we're doing are not these bigger guys out there who have let the blessings of fortunes come to their head. I assure you that's not how it works behind the scenes, guys.
Yeah, and you don't see you don't see half the show being an advertisement either, which pisses me off about some shows. I'll leave the names out of it, but
right,
you do what you do for money. But I'm trying to think of how many mansions have you bought, Daniel, with all the funds you've got from this?
Yeah. All right. What my dad used to always say? We'd sit down, and I try not to lie, and I'd lie if I said I didn't lie, but I certainly don't always give the full picture to people I don't think are ready for it. But like my dad used to say, we'd have conversations, and he's the one that trained me. He said, that was an assumption, boy. You know what happens when you assume something. And I was like, what's that, Dad? He said, you make an ass out of you and me. And a lot of people who listen to networks like this, they make a lot of assumptions about what they're seeing on their screens or what they're hearing on the airwaves, you know. And they really, really are assumptions. They really are. They don't know how hard those of us out here on the real battlefront need help. We really do need help. Every bit of help that we can get. And we're not getting it. And we're not getting it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I can go down to the local box store and see aisles and aisles of plastic horseshit, you know, for way more, bought by materialistic people, materialistic parents to be given to materialistic 3-year-olds that'll be forgotten in 15 minutes, you know, and it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. So, you know, I'm telling you guys, if you can't get out there and do some of the stuff you hear us activists doing, and there are reasons that some people can't, disabilities, things like that, we understand that. But you can hit a donate button, you know, you can. And you don't know how much it really, really does help. And it may sound like televangelists, and we on American Freedom Radio and other networks, we don't mean to sound that way, you know, but yeah, I assure you, this goes.
And if you feel that people here doing what they do every day don't deserve your dollar or your time or whatever, let them know. You know, what's your concerns? What can be better?
Right. So, Horn, I don't know. How do you want to wrap this one up, man? We're coming down to the end of it, and my batteries are about out after 7 days with no sleep and spring cleaning, man.
Horn, man, I'm gonna have to start going by an alias again.
Yeah.
I don't like the sound of that one.
Yeah, we're kind of schizophrenic like that. We like using different identities and different names and stuff just to keep people guessing, man.
I like trying the waters before I give people my identity, but
yeah,
screw it, man. Come at me.
Yeah. I assure you, your identity is not what's on that birth certificate. That's not who it is, man. Yeah. And people who are ignorant enough to, you know, Jesus, I get some ignorant people out there. You know, what's he hiding from? That's not his real name.
Shit, I can tell you what I'm hiding from. I'm hiding from I'm hiding from the shot, as they say. And I'm not hiding no alias. I mean, a lot of great writers have used aliases and whatnot, but
every great writer uses.
But if you want to know why someone hides, though, man, do some research. Perhaps listen to "Wake Up" by Rage Against the Machine. Perhaps, you know, if you like music. It's dangerous being against tyranny.
Yeah,
it's a dangerous position to play.
Guys, before we do go off air, which is very shortly here, Turner did send me a message. He would like you guys to. I'm too tired to do it. My eyes are about crossed. Google statistics of people with PTSD. Start looking into post-traumatic stress disorder. It's not just soldiers. You know, I saw that meme today. Sometimes memes are good. And it's a lot of other people. You know, there's spousal abuse syndrome. There's all types of trauma. And, you know, one of the solutions that I think is the free growth, use, and partaking of cannabis. And I think it's a simple process. I think it's being done wrong here in Georgia by very well-intentioned people. And I think when I get the right well-intentioned people down here in this district, we're going to make it a lot simpler, a lot faster, and make a difference. Because it's going to cure a lot of people, man. It really is. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Maybe. If we're around. You guys have a wonderful week. This is Daniel Louis Crumpton and Jesse Horn from ZEN in the Car on American Freedom Radio. Peace out.